USAFL 2024 Nationals is brought to you by Tasmanian, the quiet pursuit of the extraordinary. Cooper's, Australian made and owned. Cooper's Beer. Visit Austin, live music capital of the world. Aussie Sports USA, the official apparel provider of the USAFL. Qantas Airlines, the spirit of Australia. The Australian Consulate General, Houston. Three Cuts Gin. Odin Mortgage and Tax. CyberSolve IQ, the inaugural cybersecurity partner of the USAFL. And by USAFL Foundation. Play on.
Welcome back to Onion Creek Park here at the 2024 USAFL National Championship. We have a Division II game here. The Columbus Cats and the Baltimore Dockers doing battle. Results of these sides earlier today as we check the scoreboard. Cats went down to Seattle. Seattle kicked 5-4-34 to the Cats' 3 goals, 18. And Baltimore also losing earlier to Austin's reserve side. Austin reserves 4-5-29 to Baltimore 2-4-16. I'm joined by Jason Becker here. Jason, those results, so both these sides sitting on 1 loss on the day, but plenty of opportunity still here at their second match this afternoon.
Yeah, good to be here, Dan. You've been promoted to play-by-play. I've been demoted from civilian to the color commentary. Yeah, both teams would be loving a win by the end of this hot day.
So what do you see in these two sides? Obviously, the Cats side, plenty of Revolution talent up the spine. Guys we'd be really familiar with, some veterans of the Revolution program. Less familiar with the Baltimore side, breaking away from the DC. The growth of footy in the area now deserves 2 clubs in that area. What do you anticipate from this match?
Don't know what to anticipate from Baltimore. Like you said, we know the Columbus players, seasoned veterans through the Revolution program over the years, and I'm eager to see what Baltimore have on offer.
All right, so we're underway here. Cats just kicking out there. They're kicking out from the Onion Creek side into the wind this half. Brian's mentioned all day. Swirling a little bit, generally probably a 1 to 2 goal breeze. Favoring the team kicking towards the Onion Creek side. So for you joining on the broadcast, left to right. So Cats kicking into the wind, Baltimore with the wind a little bit in the first half here. And conditions, we are properly at 95 degrees at this point. So the oven is heated. The preheating is done, and we are at full temperature to bake for the rest of the day.
Yeah, to orient our viewers, like you said, the Onion Creek is to the right, so it's like the Punt Road end and the city end on the left. I reckon I can feel the wind in my back at this point, so we're on the broadcast wing. I think it's probably shifted a little bit more to be across the field, so maybe not such a huge advantage, just to favor one end.
Yeah, bit of a pedestrian start here. Cats getting over the football, tying up in the middle, and first actually real clear breakout here for Boston on the near side wing. I'm sorry, did I say Baltimore? My apologies. And we're also going to apologize because we don't have numbers for the Baltimore side, just the Cats side, so we'll do our best with Baltimore folks so we can figure out names. Big kick long down the far side wing there, pinned in, 42, Stork.
That's what he does best.
Mark McClure, stalwart in the forward line, had a really good tournament in the Transatlantic Cup 2 months ago for the Revolution. Big Mark. Baltimore rebounds here, out into the middle, one-on-one contests. Oh, and he's probably taking him high. Oh, there's the call. Oh, he's a bit stiff not to earn that one. Had his head over the football, was taken high. Umpire probably in a poor position to see it. So we'll have a ball up right here at the middle of the field.
Yeah, there was a lot of speed in that contest trying to get to the ball in the open field, and a bit of a clumsy tackle in the end.
17 for Baltimore there with the big leap in the ruck contest. Have to keep an eye on him. That kid's got some springs stuffed in the bottom of his shoes. The Cats with the mark here on the boundary. Jason, we've watched it all day. Some success on the near side boundary here. If teams can build out to this side and then build back towards the middle with the wind, it's been successful instead of getting pinned on that far side.
That's right. They just brought it to the sideline and then did a nice kick on the 45, as we call it, just barely missing Clyde Simpson on that one.
Good patience there with Baltimore in the middle. Handball sequence 22 delivering that forward 50 entry, and we're out for a throw in here, right where the 50 hits the boundary mark. It'll be a forward pocket, nearly forward pocket ball inbound from the boundary. Ruckmen are making their way there. Probably a bit of fatigue by this point in the day. A lot of sun, probably 40 or 50 gallons of sunscreen used at this point. The boundary throws in, Rucks go up, tap to the middle, which is exactly what Baltimore wants. Collected by 17. Kick let him down, smothered in the end. Laying there to be picked up, and the Cats do.
Yeah, smooth moving just until didn't quite get his foot on the ball at the end there.
Clearance kick was smothered by Baltimore, and again the ball collected by the Cats, rushed over for a behind. So looking over on the Tasmanian scoreboard, 3 behinds now for Baltimore, so third kick in for the Cats. So 0-3 Baltimore to 0 Columbus.
You'll notice they kick in from fullback. As everyone who plays footy would know, you're going to go to what they call the dead pocket, and that means go with the wind as you have that kick. That means if it gets intercepted or turned over, it's going to come back into the breeze. Not fortunate for us being on this side of the field, but that makes sense that they would play it onto that side sometimes.
Apologies, 0-2 is the score. I was a little bit fluxum by watching the scoreboard operator flash a 3 up, but I think they were just thumbing through the little manual LCD dials on the scoreboard and had the 3 up briefly as I was glancing. So 0-2 Baltimore applying pressure here. Handball forward and a nice handball give and go sequence. And a mark just outside 50. Again, apologies, no numbers for the Baltimore folks, so no names to go with numbers. Massive tackle applied there by the Columbus Cat. And he's no signal as he awarded the kick from the umpire. Must be a ball out. So we'll have a boundary throw there. Rucks go up, ball comes down. Clyde Simpson with his nose over it, as he so often is, 12 for Columbus. And that's going to be out on the full. Jason, explain that to folks that are brand new to Aussie rules. What's out on the full? Ball trickled over the boundary to throw in, but what do we have there?
Yeah, in America we would say it's on the fly, meaning it carried the whole kick carried over the line completely. In Australia they call that on the full, and if you kick it and it goes out of bounds on the full, it's a free kick the other way.
Forward 50 entry here for Baltimore, keeping it tight into that pocket. We talked about this earlier in the day. Had a really, really nice lead. I think it was in the Florida Squids game where that lead came out more onto the fat side. And another term I'll have you explain in a second, Jason, but that's the space to work in for those forwards. When that kick ends up in that pocket again, they get pinned down in there. So it's not an ideal result for Baltimore.
Yeah, again, we call that the dead pocket. That's where the wind wants to take it. So if you can kick it to what we call the fat side where all the grass is, you might find someone that's open over there if you can get it across the ground.
Big thumping kick from the 50-meter arc there. Sailed a little bit more vertically spinning as opposed to end over end as you'd normally see. So kind of a vertical torpedo there. Didn't make contact quite as you'd like, out for behind. So now we are, the scoreboard's catching up to myself and anyone playing the drinking game at home. I think you're going to drink for Barish. We'll chalk that one up to him too. So 0-3 for Baltimore, and nothing on the board yet for the Cats. Far side here, Cats building here on the boundary, had running in numbers, a couple of handballs. Now we've got a kick trickling into forward 50, so a forward 50 entry for the Cats, and their pressure works for them beautifully. What's the call from the umpire? We haven't seen a signal yet. Signal to the Cats. This is one of our umpire trainees. Again, we were suggesting earlier the evaluator might give them the feedback, a very demonstrative show of the signal so that everyone else on the ground knows exactly what happened. Some sort of infraction, and it's a free kick to Columbus. We can't quite tell what it was, but lining up for the free kick here.
Yeah, and when they do point their arms, they point the opposite way of what Americans might expect. They say, go back and take your kick, as opposed to, hey, kick it this way.
It looks so courteous, as if they're holding the door open for you. Please, this way, if you will. And the straight kick there, it's Columbus on the board. They hit the lead here, 1-0-6, Columbus 0-3-3, Baltimore 6-3, Columbus. Partway through the first term, Cats had a nice sequence there, building up the boundary with the handballs.
Yeah, it really went against the flow of play. They were able to break the half-forward line, probably for the first time. There wasn't a lot on up forward, not a lot of options, because as you like to talk about the accordion being squeezed, there wasn't much ahead of the ball, but they were fortunate enough to get the free kick once they got it inside 50, and then that was a nice kick with a swirly breeze for the first major of the game.
Ball back to the middle here. A lot of pace out of Baltimore's side, collecting that and moving forward. And we have a response, an immediate response. So the lead change has happened again. Cats hit the front there with a score, and now Baltimore responds. What a quick response out of the middle. 17 there is starting to do some damage with his pace and his leap on the Baltimore central midfielders. Quickly into forward 50 there, and a quick goal.
Yeah, that was a very quick reply, as you say, and springing out of the middle. They won the tap, and it was effective, and right onto their own player in the orange headband there, and he just sprang out of there.
Apologies to his grandmother, mother, girlfriend, whoever might be listening at home that wants to hear his name called out, but all we have is 17 as his number. We don't have a team sheet, unfortunately, for Baltimore.
Might be calling him headband when he gets home, unfortunately.
And there he is again, actually roved his own ruck tap. Strength out of 15 there to give it the don't talk back. Cats collect there across halfback. Umpire signals a tackle, a bit stiff. He was set upon almost immediately after getting it. Not sure he made an athletic move or had the time to dispose there, but the umpire doesn't agree with me, and he's got the whistle.
Another headband having a kick there. That was a pretty decent forward entry to a one-on-two. Baltimore, again, having a forward fortunate enough to get a free kick. It was a one-on-two, a pretty good kick, and he was awarded the free. Not quite sure why, maybe coming over the top of the shoulders.
Oh, and Baltimore catches Columbus sleeping. So number 4 there with a brilliant lead out of the goal square. Oh, the umpire asked him to reset. I don't know what was wrong with that precisely. I think he had everything the way he wanted it to, and number 9 snuck open, but we're back reset to where we were a moment ago. Number 4 lining up for a set shot on goal.
Give it a big roost. It's got a chance, Dan. I think it's there.
That kick hung true. We thought it was drifting left a little bit. The wind might push it a little more than it did, but I think he got that just up the ground gust as it's been swirling with us today. Sometimes a little bit behind us, sometimes more from our left. Baltimore 2 in a row now. 2 goals 3, kicks 15 to 1 goal 0 for Columbus. 6 points here at the 2024 USAFL Nationals.
I'll just point out that even though it didn't come off, because they recalled the ball back to the player that had the free kick at the top. Number 9, headband number 2, he was the one who kicked it into the forward 50, so he then continued playing and became the next option forward. So that was good work effort on his part.
Ruckman taking a bit of a different angle that time. Columbus obviously trying to mix things up because they've struggled to dominate the middle here. Baltimore getting the better use of the football off the ruck taps. And it's seen over the far boundary. That'll be a throw-in on the far side. Sides reorganize here. The ball is up. The ruckman fly. Tap towards the boundary again. Slightly forward for Columbus, but Baltimore's the first one to the football. Baltimore circling. Cats circling. In the end, what do we have? No signal from the umpire. Baltimore kick, for some reason, might have been in the back.
Could have been in the back. Maybe he didn't have it. Looked a bit in the back to me. Some nice quick hands out of there, and then when he didn't have possession, he got a little nudge in the back.
Good kick, good lead. The kick left him up short, but he did well to collect it. And there's 17 who's been dangerous for Baltimore. The switch is on if they can find it. The middle is open, and they run with hands. 2 handballs, forward 50 entry off the boot. over the outstretched arms of the forward. Number 1 for Baltimore collects, and a colossal effort as he's wearing a defender for the last 3 meters he runs. Ball to boot, sheds a couple of tackles there and slots one through for 6. What an individual effort there by the forward.
Yeah, another good forward entry into an out number. They did well to bring the ball to ground, and like you said, he had to shed the big fur coat there to get the ball through the goals.
I feel bad for his kids that I can't say his name for those listening or watching at home, but number 1 for Baltimore, your dad just slotted one. You'd be cheering at home if you're listening. Again, apologies, we don't have the team sheet for the Baltimore side. Baltimore 3 straight goals now, unanswered, so kicking 3-3-21 to the Columbus 1-0-6. 17, the Baltimore ruckman really starting to dominate. He's putting it where he wants to. He's really out leaping here, and I'm going to go ahead and guess he's got over a 3-foot vertical, really exerting himself in the ruck.
I promise you we will know his name by the end of the day.
Cats to rebound here out of their back 50. Working over to the far side as would be defensively strategic when you're going against the wind and get the tie-up that they want. Jason, why is that an effective strategy when you talk about rebounding in a game where there's enough wind to make a difference? Why would you want to go to the winded side when you're building out of the back?
To go with the wind when you're building?
Against it, into it.
Oh, into it, sure. Because if you manage to get it, let's say to our side, we've got the wind at our back here on the broadcast wing, then it makes getting to the goals that you're trying to score into, kind of downwind from there. So that's one reason. You don't want to do it so far back that, like we talked about earlier, that a turnover is going to, make you pay for it. But by the time you get the ball up the ground a little bit, it's maybe time to cross it over, get away from the congestion, and then get the breeze to your back.
Tie up there on the far side, so the umpire has a ball up. Usual story, number 17, out leaping the opposition ruckman from Columbus.
Nice
ball scooted forward. Forward was on his lead and a nice pickup, as Jason said. Was immediately able to curl his run and handball there to complete the forward 50 entry. But the kick into forward a little squirrely and a bit tough to handle.
Yeah, it was as good as a kick mark and a handball, just because he was able to pick it up so cleanly. The team that tends to be less fumbly is the team that's probably going to look a little smoother, and like Clyde Simpson likes to say, smooth is fast. You don't have to be that fast if you can be smooth.
That really is the truth, isn't it? All that class that you show by being smooth can really paste over other things that aren't doing well, or maybe a lack of pace. Big tackle by Baltimore there. Got to be a little careful with that. Did the umpire dislike that? It's bordering on a sling tackle as he almost picked him up and drove him into the turf, but Stork flies on the far boundary. Columbus would like to get him more involved in this contest. He took that big contested mark early, but he's such a target for them, they probably want to work through him more effectively.
For sure, they would love to. It's a tough balance trying to break that half-forward link. He's one of the best in the business at that, but again, with the swirly breeze, and if you can't get a couple of steps to get a clean kick away, it's tough to get good service to the big fella.
Another full forward in hoops, Tom Hawkins. There's shades of Mark McClure, Stork's game, that resembles that. He came all the way back there to help the team build out. You'd see those types of leads from Hawkins onto the wing for the Cats. And then Stork stuck around for the ruck tap, giving some relief to his ruckman. Tie up there on the far boundary. We'll have the ball up here from the umpire. The sides organize themselves. .17 again for Baltimore, getting first hand to the ball up. Hands away in the middle of the tackle. Baltimore collecting behind their contest. Lead from forward is just a little bit overcooked. Cats look to rebound. A couple of effective handballs in their defensive 50, but the kick out wasn't good enough. Baltimore collecting here now, right at their forward 50. Sheds a tackle, squares up to goal, has a kick, and it's good. Through for 6. Umpire tips his head back as they're sitting in the salon waiting to get his hair washed. Right over his head there. That brings our score now, Baltimore 4-4-28. Columbus 106.
And you just saw one clean handball out of the congestion here in midfield, and it was enough to get a clean kick away. Like you said, a little overcooked, but then good body position. And headman number 2, our number 9, he looked around for someone to give it to, but there wasn't anybody coming to him. So he said, well, I'll just have a ping, and went straight through.
Yeah, showed that tackle and took care of it himself at the end, didn't he? Umpire's clearing a little space where he's going to back out of this tap. Parts the waters like Moses. Ball's up. Squibbed forward ever so slightly in Columbus's favor, but Baltimore's there to collect. Ball now on the near side here with us. Kicked up the wing. Going to roll over the boundary for a throw in at half forward there.
I'm guessing there's maybe only 30 seconds left in this term.
Yeah, probably not much.
Headman number 1, 17, took it straight out of the ruck. They will ball it up at that spot.
Umpire with the ball up here. Got Dennis Steinbeck rucking in that occasion for Columbus against number 17. Clyde Simpson with a hard effort, nose over the football here on the near side. Columbus collects, handball away during the tackle. Another handball away during the tackle. Ferocious pressure from Baltimore. 17 again involved. He's lanky and he's a good leaper, weaving in and out of traffic, and that is the halftime siren.
Yeah, I think I heard it sounded more like the 8:15 to Blacktown, but it was the siren for the end of the first half.
So here we are at halftime, end of the first half. Baltimore 4-4-28 on 4 unanswered goals to 106 for Columbus. Jason, 22-point lead. What are your thoughts on the advantage they have and how they've created it?
Well, Baltimore were well and truly in control, and they were just able to string together a few possessions, and that's what it took to put it through the big sticks a few times, and that's given them a handy lead. So well and truly in control. You know, Columbus will go have a huddle, maybe find some shade, and talk about how they might do things a little bit differently in the second half, or maybe it's that there is a scoring end. It is favored a little bit to our right, so coach might say, "Hey, do you guys think there's a scoring end? Because there better be. We need some help."
Yeah, we can sit here and kind of guess what that halftime speech is. Columbus will have use of that wind if there is an advantage in it in the second half. We're going to take a break here and come back in a moment. Join us in a few moments again at the 2024 USAFL Nationals here at the Coopers Field. First half, 4-4-28, Baltimore, 106, Columbus.
The USAFL 2024 Nationals is brought to you by Tasmanian, the quiet pursuit of the extraordinary. Coopers, Australian made and owned. Coopers Beer. Visit Austin, live music capital of the world. Aussie Sports USA, the official apparel provider of the USAFL. Qantas Airlines, the spirit of Australia. The Australian Consulate General, Houston. Three Cuts Gin. Odin Mortgage and Tax. CyberSolve IQ, the inaugural cybersecurity partner of the USAFL. And by USAFL Foundation. Play on.
Welcome back, 2024 USAFL National Tournament here in Austin, Texas. I've got a special guest here with me. We're coming back slightly early from halftime. Columbus and Baltimore are taking their break, getting their instructions from their coaches at halftime, some adjustments. Simon Highfield joins me. He's the International Development Manager for the AFL and started to become a regular guest at USAFL Nationals. How are you enjoying the carnival?
This may offend some people in other parts of the world, SARS, but the Nationals here in the US is my favourite international event. It's the biggest Australian football event in the world. It's the most amount of people we've got playing footy at any one time at any one venue. The USAFL do an incredible job of showcasing Australian football, and this event is everything that is good about footy. It's people from all walks of life, from all parts of the US coming together and playing Australian football. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and you've got folks from the AFL or clubs and stuff that come over, and we're thrilled to have them, but I think the curiosity and the spectacle of 5 ovals running simultaneously, all the activity, all these clubs, and geographically, U.S. Lower 48 states, every bit as big as Australia. So imagine that, clubs coming from all over Australia to one place at one time at the end of the season. For you all, it'd be the same time of year in October, coming off of winter into spring. For us, it's coming off of summer into fall. But you said it really well.
It's fantastic. 5 full-size fields, 18 play. It's incredible.
Yeah.
You really need to see it to believe it.
Yeah. So tell me a tiny bit more about your role, some of the other events you've been able to see internationally.
Yeah, so my role as International Development Manager is essentially to look after the AFL's relationships with most of our international markets. So those at the moment include Asia, the US, Canada, Europe, Middle East and Colombia. I just spent last weekend in Kiel in Germany at the Euro Cup. The Euro Cup is also 5 fields going at one time, 9 aside. It's a national event, so all the national teams from across Europe come together. And I'm so lucky. I have the best job in the world, being able to travel the world sometimes, but it's the people for mine. People like you, SARS, and Becca, who's about to jump in and replace me. It's the people that make international football so great, and I think it showcases Australian football as an amazing game. It brings people together from all walks of life. It's a sport for everyone. You don't have to be tall, you don't have to be short. It's an amazing game that brings people together, and I think the story we're trying to tell is that Australian football is not just in Australia, it is for everyone regardless of where you live.
Yeah, we've fallen in love with the game, obviously. Last question for you. I'm stepping into a new role, head of the international program here with the USAFL, and that's a big honor and a big responsibility. I suspect, and I don't think I'm out on a limb to say this, we're probably going to get to work together a lot. How do you anticipate our dialogue unfolding going forward, how we might work together?
I'm really looking forward to it, SARS. I think the international programs in any country are super important for the recruitment and retention of players. I think everybody wants to represent their country and represent their country in the sport they love. A lot of people love Australian rules. So how we put on events to make sure that we cater to international teams, men, women, of all ages, is super important. So obviously there's still some question marks around what the international football schedule looks like, and the AFL acknowledges that, but I'm really looking forward to answering that question and making sure that the Transatlantic Cup earlier this year can be replicated in some form to give it another option for people to play the International Cup, hopefully returning and again providing another platform for people to play and represent their country. So I'm looking forward to working with you from the USAFL side to make sure that together we get the best athletes in America playing Australian football, representing their country on the global stage.
Yeah, that's brilliant, mate. We're all sort of rebuilding, recovering after the pandemic, and international football competition comes back, and what are those events going to look like? But we've got some momentum now. The Transatlantic Cup was big for us in August 2 months ago. So thanks so much for joining me. We enjoyed chatting with you at halftime. I'll see plenty more of you over the next day and a half, and chat with you plenty more in my role going forward. So Simon Highfield, International Development Manager from the AFL here at the USAFL 2024 National Tournament. And we'll turn back to the game now, and Jason Becker will rejoin me here to provide some color and analysis. Picking up right where we left off, Baltimore, forward 50 entry. They've had the Lions' share of the football against the Cats. A little bit more class they've shown thus far, Jason, and the Cats probably hoping at this point to turn the tides. They've got the wind. What were the adjustments, do you think, at halftime that they would need to make to get back in this?
Well, I think if you could just clear the congestion with a handball or two, but so far the only team that's really been able to do that has been Baltimore. And like you said, they started off just where they left off. Headband 1 to headband 2, straight out of the middle.
Ruck tap off the boundary throw on the far side. Cats collect at the back of their pack. And again, that tendency to go to the boundary, the wind pushes it there. I think players naturally tend to push towards that side. I'd love to see that ball turn inboard at that moment. If they can make it happen, that's where they start getting dangerous because there's space to play in the middle. Baltimore picks up the ball there, handballs away. They've worked it out of the pack through 3 handballs into their key player, 17. Kick let him down a little bit there, but man, you can tell, Jason, they're really effective when the ball's coming through 17 in some fashion, whether it's off his hand at the ruck taps or targeting him with a handball as they're running out.
Yep, and the only thing that let him down there was the kick, and that's probably not helped by the wind. So you're trying to drop the ball from your hand onto your boot, and the wind going across the ground probably just pushed that a little bit sideways for him.
Cats kick out of their back pocket up to the wing on the winded side of the ground. Baltimore starts to target the middle, not a full corridor entry. Tackle applied. The umpire in training. We have not seen his signal. He's helping a player up off the ground. And it looks like he's awarded a kick.
Yep.
There's a bit of indecision there, but Clyde Simpson with the tackle, we're assuming. Let's see the signal.
Little intercept mark by headband number 2, number 19. Or number 9, excuse me.
2 of their key players, Baltimore. Again, apologies for those just joining us. We don't have a team list, so no names to go with numbers, but we have headbands to go with numbers. So a couple of the guys getting leather poisoning for Baltimore in the first half. Headband 1 and headband 2, that's 17. And
then there's a 9, and there's a 3rd headband now, Dan, on the right here.
All right, well, it's going to get tricky to tell them all apart. Do the best you can squinting on the broadcast, because we don't have names to tell them apart. Forward 50 entry for Baltimore there. But we had a whistle. We'll make that suggestion to our umpire fellow in training here. We get more demonstrative with the signals so we understand what's going on and what he's calling. Ruck tap there, that's 28. Looks like Steinbeck does the rucking out of the halfback line for the Cats, sharing the workload there. 4, that's Daniel Raver sticking his head over the football and getting it moving forward for Columbus. But we've got a free kick to Baltimore. Coming back the other way now. Intercept mark for the Cats, 33, that's Eric Pullitz. Handballs away, kick up the wing. Cats really pinned against that side even though they're trying to work up there. Tackle spins him around, handball back to the boundary again. 35, that's Derek. That was not Derek Shotwell. Might be in a jumper switch there. Cats threatening here, inside 50. Got a shot on goal, came off like a torpedo, although he didn't intend it to do so. Out on the full. That'll be a free kick out of the pocket here for Baltimore. 34 will take that.
Maybe D-Shot's trying to get some votes by having another player in his number.
Maybe so.
Wouldn't be the first time that's happened.
No, it wouldn't. Shotwell's wearing 35, actually. We can see him here. He can get involved in this contest. Stork flies, but was impeded on the ground a little bit. Didn't get the airtime he wanted.
Ooh,
ball sails over, a nice tackle. And it's play on.
The tackle was a bit high.
Umpire awarded that to Baltimore.
Yep.
So what number do we have here? Sorry, 67 will pick up. Handball to 15, Baltimore. And the kick forward, they're targeting the corridor here. 18 runs onto it. Handball to 66, Baltimore. Not quite intercepted, but spoiled on the halfback line by James Smith from Columbus. Baltimore collects, however. Umpire's got something to say. Stoppage. Not sure I understand the woo, let's go signal.
Might be ordering
a ball up.
Might be ordering an ice cream from that trolley that's been
Maybe that's what it was. It was a ball up. Not sure what he awarded it for, but
if you're not driving that trolley by the end of this game, I'll be surprised, mate. Oh, good catch. Call it a mark in Aussie footy. That's a good grab.
It's Baltimore on the far side now. Backs up. Handballs, get the ball moving by hand. It's been effective. We've seen it in other games to play on a little more quickly if you can by hands or by running. Columbus trying to handball out. 2 tackles applied. Held to him, the umpire says. We saw the signal clearly that time. He'll have it, he says, for a ball up. Ruckman fly, or at least one of them does. Clyde Simpson, the Cats, comes out with the ball, getting dragged down though. Ineffective handball, gets collected by Baltimore, and then a mark outside at about 8 meters out. Umpire again doesn't agree with how things transpired.
That was a good.
Oh, he's trying to bring him around.
That was a good grab. Really good hands down there in the goal square. Now he's kicked a snap around the corner, right through for a goal.
So Baltimore adds to its tally. On the Tasmanian scoreboard there, 5 goals, 4-38 Baltimore to 1 goal, 0-6 Columbus. 34-6 is our score here, partway through the second half. Both these sides, Jason, losing their first game. So how are things looking for Baltimore and Columbus going forward if this result holds?
Well, I'm not sure of the schedule tomorrow, but certainly Baltimore is going to have some belief, and Columbus will be trying to leave the weekend, you know, with some kind of positives tomorrow.
Ruck tap there. Baltimore working behind the ruck contest to collect the ball. As has happened most of the day, they've been able to handball the ball forward out of traffic to get that kick away. Kick was a little ineffective, ends up rolling out on the far boundary, just about 10 meters towards the middle of the 50-meter arc. Ruckman nominate. Ball's up. Tap away. Baltimore collects behind their pack. Ball smothered off the boot out for a boundary throw.
Yeah, you mentioned collects behind the pack, so that was kind of going back to go forward. We saw earlier Clyde Simpson handballed forward, but it went right into Baltimore's hands, so they've got a pretty good structure holding their depth, so they're blocking the exit even when Columbus get a good handball forward.
And obviously by design, they do it again, although the tap was slightly more to the corridor that time, which got Baltimore moving forward, rewarded with a forward 50 entry. Gutsy contest by both players. Not sure 27 from the Cats had eyes for the football, David Martin, and that might be what was called here. Yeah, I think it was. A good contest, a good courage by both players, although Martin took his eyes off the football, looked down, and probably eyed up the man a little bit.
I'm not sure he had to there either. I'm not sure that kick was any more than about 8 meters, but it wouldn't have been a mark anyway. That's a nice little low spear, and they are paying that one as 15 meters. I'll do the math for you folks at home. 15 meters is about 15 yards.
Short stabbing kick to center the ball a little bit more. That would have been on a tough angle and straight into the wind from where he was. So Baltimore will line up straight out in front now, probably 20, maybe 25 meters.
That's a good-looking kick.
And he easily slots it. Took a little bit off that.
He made
maybe
that look easy.
Saving himself a bit for tomorrow, not absolutely roosting that through. Also saved whoever's got to retrieve that football. We're full on afternoon heat at this point. 2024 USAFL Nationals. You got Dan Sarbacher, SARS they call me, on the call here. Brian Barish is taking a break. Jason Bucker's joining me, so you're stuck with me on play-by. If you're used to Brian Barish's voice, he's got a well-earned break here for a moment. Jason, Division II game we're watching here. Baltimore 6-4-40, 1 goal 6 Columbus. What's Baltimore done right so far that's been so effective for them?
Just a couple clean handballs is really all it takes for them to get moving into space. And it's been so much congestion, especially with the wind blowing to the far side of the ground, that just getting a little bit free gives you a real chance to move it forward.
We'll have a second ball up here. Umpire got a little further away from her than she wanted. Wind probably pushed it out. And she said, well, let's be fair about it and ball it up again. So we appreciate that in the interest of equity. That's up 17
nice
flies
tap.
again. Baltimore collects.
Another good pickup off the shoelaces.
That's another one of our headbands again. I'm trying to remember, that was 9 maybe for Baltimore. Although he had his headband knocked loose there. I think that is 9. So we'll have a ball up there, but it was a great pickup off the ground. Stork, Mark McClure, 42 for Columbus, rucking that time. He's probably the only one that can, given his height, can out-jump 17. But then Columbus loses their production forward. So strategy play, bringing him back into the halfback line, trying to stem the flow here. Baltimore plays on by hands through the middle. Forward 50 entry off the boot. And an intercept mark by Columbus.
Good
well
hands.
Positioned, well read off the boot for Columbus there.
Another good grab.
And an intercept mark for Baltimore on the far wing. Columbus foregoing the chance to try to switch the ball, which might have been open here and allowed them to work up this side, goes back into traffic, and Baltimore intercepts. So we have another forward 50 entry there on the far side off the kick. And it looks like we are over the boundary for a ball up.
You know, you've been playing a long time, coaching for a long time. Had you ever considered maybe buying some headbands for your team as a solution to some problems you might have?
No. Although it seems to be working for Baltimore. Stork, Mark McClure nominated himself for the ruck that time, and Columbus, not often today, but that time gets hands to the ruck tap first. And it's starting to work for them. They're able to build up here. Little tap off the lead. Still in possession. I'll knock loose there. Columbus collects. Baltimore a little more ferocious with the pressure around the football. Looks like they may have tied it up here. And indeed she has. The umpire asked for it there, says she'll ball it up for us. So Columbus having a little success there. Mark McClure, Stork was able to redirect the ball for a change for Columbus. It looks like they've made that switch and they've brought him into the ruck, recognizing 17 for Baltimore. Was doing some damage for him. 4, that's Daniel Raver out of the back halfback line there. Handballs, Columbus working into the half-forward flank.
If we get a chance after the game, Dan, I'm going to run out there and ask him to come over here. And before you ask him a few questions, we'll ask him what his name is.
Fair enough. We'd like to know because he's touched the footy a lot. Mark McClure collects, and for a big man picking up the football like that, holy cow. This is a noteworthy play. Stork collects the ball in half-forward flank. Does it himself, the big guy, 6'10", bends over, picks up the football, and kicks a goal from about 50 meters out. Well, nobody in the forward 50.
Don't need it. But you mentioned that in the first half. Of, how can they get the ball through big Mark McClure? Because if you can get it in his hands, he can do things just like that, kick it from about 50.
So Columbus kicking perfectly here, 2 goals, 12. But unfortunately, have conceded 6 goals for 40 to the Baltimore Dockers. We'll have a ruck tap here. Mark McClure against 17, one of the headbands for Baltimore. So we got a much more even contest. McClure there. Boy, we'd love to see that coaching change a little bit earlier. Columbus now getting first use of the football. They're getting the ruck taps the direction they want to go. They're collecting the ball off a halfback and rebounding. Kick goes forward to 10. That's Alex Sleeper there on the half-forward flank. Just that change alone, one player making a big impact in the strategy for Columbus.
Yep, Stork kicked the big goal. We talked about that, and then he just had a nice little ruck tap. But unfortunately, for the Cats, that was sharked by Baltimore. And maybe Columbus wasn't even ready, for a ruck tap that soundly won.
Might be a little bit too late. We'll find out here if the Cats can string together a couple of quick goals. Clyde Simpson set upon by 2 Dockers. Ball spills in the process. Umpire says illegal disposal?
Yeah.
No, she's signaling the Cats' way.
I think it was. I think Clyde did a nice little spin move, but that he didn't get rid of it quickly enough right after that.
All right, Baltimore kick was marked on the far side. Kick forward again, and another nice mark by Baltimore. They're stringing together a few here with the foot. Forward 50 entry here. He's got his man open, and that's the 3rd mark in a row on the far side. So Baltimore building up very effectively with the foot. And they'll have a shot on goal.
Oh, a little handball.
Surprise, he was wearing a headband. Yep. That seems to be the secret weapon for Baltimore.
The 3 headbands are about to get together for congratulations. That's a record for the day, I think. It was handball to headband, goal by headband, and then we almost had all 3 get together in celebration.
They'll be looking up the local sporting goods shop and picking up a full set for the side after this effort. They've been key for them, the Dockers here this afternoon. Nice build up there on the far boundary, kick to kick to kick. Then the inboard ball that we've talked about on and off all day being the really damaging one for the Cats when the Baltimore Dockers decided to go inboard there with hands and visually converted, which gives us 7-4 for Baltimore, 46 to 2-0, 12 for Columbus. The Rucks fly, Storks up, wins the tap again, and look at how effective they've become with the hands through Clyde Simpson. Columbus building up there out of the middle, out of the ruck tap, forward 50 entry, and they've got a shot on goal. Yes, it was for a behind.
See, they can do it, and that time, Stork won it again out of the middle, but this time the on-ballers were ready, and they'd strung together bing, bing, bing some handballs, and all you have to do is gain 15, 20 meters to what we call break the line where the ball is, and then you can get over the top and break the next line one kick away.
So we'll have... Well, he signaled a behind. It looked like he was walking him over for kicking out on the full, but we will have a proper kick out, so that was a behind. There's our flag signal, a little late. He's played on, probably run far enough. Puts the ball to boot. Defensive maneuver for the Baltimore Dockers, or at least a risk management movement to kick out to the winded side. Harder for Columbus to build back in from there. And it looks like we got some calf cramps. We said they'd be coming. One of the Baltimore Dockers down on the far side. Looks like he's stretching that calf out. Some dehydration setting in. Hot day.
Yeah, I thought Stork was going to take a mark in there, and someone had nice body position just to kind of nudge him out.
Looks like we had a tie-up. Clyde came out with the ball. Umpire says it'll be mine. I'll have it up. Rucks fly. 17 got the better of Stork that time with a big leap. He's adjusted, knows he needs a big run up to compete with the 6'10 Mark McClure. Baltimore corralling the ball off the back of their pack. Big tackle applied by Columbus. And play on, says the umpire. They've got advantage. Forward 50 entry from Shotwell. 55 Luke Evans led out nicely. Rebound from Baltimore, and then Clyde Simpson with the intercept mark on the far wing.
Oh, and
nicely targeted mark, who fumbled it, but no matter. He's got time and space. Forward 50 entry. Sails over 55 Luke Evans. He maybe didn't time his lead quite properly.
Yeah, that just carried a bit. It was a good idea.
As it tends to do, moving that direction with a little bit of wind behind it. We see that ball sail over the top more times than not for leading forwards.
There's
big
Stork
fly.
again.
Mark was in front. And you're not going to out-contest him if he's in front, I'll tell you that. Now, a little bit of confusion. Some extracurriculars there a little bit. Players getting frustrated, not liking what was going on. Stork stopped. Thinking we should have had a stoppage. He should have been rewarded for the mark, but the umpire obviously already called play on. They're doing a ball up. Nope, it is Stork's ball. So he was right in the end. I've never seen someone convince an umpire to change their mind, but he might have done so there in a world history first.
I'm not convinced that's what happened, Dan. Just because we don't understand it doesn't mean they changed their mind.
And that's the siren there. Baltimore kicks 7-4, 46 to 2-0, 12 to Columbus.
Let me run
We got a little chuckle from one of the umpires sitting on the boundary having a laugh at us here. I think she liked that comment that no one in the history of mankind has ever changed an umpire's mind.
Let me run get him. We'll ask him a couple questions, and right after we'll drive that ice cream truck to the other side and do a brisk business.
Yeah, fair enough. So in recap here, the Baltimore Dockers win their afternoon match after losing in the morning. So they'll finish the day 1-on-1 here. 7-4, 46 to 2-0, 12 for Columbus. Columbus 0-2 on the day. They'll be looking to rectify that in the morning. It sets up a big contest for Baltimore tomorrow. They know they'd need to win that to go through. A lot depends on the other results. The Seattle-Austin reserves game would be the other match in this foursome happening right now. I believe that might even be on the field behind me, and siren might have blown there. So we'll have to wait and see on the results of that till we know more about how this may play out for Division II in this particular pool tomorrow. Jason Becker's gone and fetched one of the headbands here on the sideline, and we'll ask him maybe one of the most gripping questions to start with. and what his name is. What a great game. This is the number 17 for Baltimore, and we've been making apologies to all the fans of your club back home. We didn't have a team sheet. We didn't have your name. We couldn't call it out. So I'm going to ask you the hardest hitting question first. What is your name?
Isley Autry.
Isley, it's a pleasure to meet you. 2024 USAFL Nationals here. Isley, really key year performance here. Obviously a good leaper in the ruck, number 17. Not even sure how many touches you got, but a lot of the game flowed through you. How'd you feel about that performance?
I felt pretty good. We just tried to come out strong. They said move forward, and as long as we have the momentum, we'll keep pushing forward. So
yeah. You've got that kind of build that looks like, oh boy, that guy could jump through the roof. That high jumper build, and he didn't disappoint. Dominated the ruck for the first. I'd say half and a bit, the first half and partway through the second half.
Yeah.
Columbus made a switch and put Mark McClure in against you. National team player. He's a really effective forward on the national team where he mostly plays. They used him in the ruck. He's 6'10". What kind of a challenge did that provide for you?
I'll take it on. I just stand as another person to jump against. I thought it was a challenge. They switched, I think, in the first half with someone else. They switched again, so I was like, I'm doing something right. But I just took it on as a challenge. I feel like I can jump against anyone. So.
Yeah, they kept throwing stuff at you and seeing what would stick.
Yeah.
In the end, I saw you just towards the end adjust your approach even. You said, oh, I'm going to need a bigger run-up for this guy, and that's the one you won against him. So.
Yeah.
1-1 on the day. Who do you play tomorrow?
I believe Seattle.
Seattle.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're waiting on the result of that Seattle-Austin B game. You guys probably still in the running here for what we know at this point.
Mm-hmm.
What's the recovery look like for you all tonight?
Drink a lot of water, ice, take it easy. So.
Yeah, good. Well, great performance today. Isley, it's great to meet you.
Appreciate
great
it.
to have a name to go with a face. Good luck tomorrow. Good luck with the recovery tonight. We're going to sign off here from the Division II game we just saw. Again, 7-4-46 Baltimore Dockers, 2-0-12 the Columbus Cats. 2024 USAFL National Championship here in Austin, Texas.
Thank you.
The USAFL 2024 Nationals is brought to you by Tasmanian, the quiet pursuit of the extraordinary. Cooper's, Australian made and owned. Cooper's Beer. Visit Austin, live music capital of the world. Two Hands Hospitality, fueling your lifestyle. Watch AFL, stream every match. Devil's Corner, Tasmania. HBC Event Services. Play Aussie. Premier Sports Medicine. And by the Movember Foundation.